Hello and welcome to the March 2020 update from Clydebridge station. We live in very uncertain times at the moment with the COVID-19 outbreak, and obviously this is being reflected upon the amount of model railway shows that have had to quite understandably be cancelled. And at the time of filming, the Cooper Model Railway show is the latest one to understandably be cancelled. The government's advice has been to stay indoors and take one form of exercise outside a day. That's what I have been doing. And what we have seen as well is a great community spirit from everybody. People doing things, helping out the more vulnerable people in our world. And you know, that's the sort of thing that should be happening all the time, not just during times of crises. To all those who have been helping out, it's been absolutely fantastic. And I know that a couple of friends of mine have actually been bringing around some yoghurts for my mum. I've also been able to get out to the shop as well. So thank you very much to those who have been doing those sorts of things. It's quite extraordinary what people are doing, and it's quite welcome what people are doing. Now, among those who've been helping out are those who would be doing DJing in nightclubs. And one of them is a guy from Liverpool called Lee Butler. Now, if the name of Butler is quite familiar to you, well, his dad, Billy, was a radio DJ at Radio Merseyside. Lee has followed on in his father's footsteps. He does some DJing work on Radio City. But Lee is also a nightclub DJ as well. His first gig was at I think it was called the Quadrant Park. Lee, when you actually watch this, could you please correct me if I'm wrong? But it's I'm sure it was Quadrant Park nightclub that he first started DJing at in 1990, coincidentally the year this layout was set in. And I mention Lee Butler because he's been doing something recently on Twitch, which is a free live video website, and he's been doing gigs for a couple of hours every night, Monday to Saturday, in a spare room in his house to try and keep our spirits up. It's dance music, the clubland sort of stuff, which is what I happen to like. And Lee's been keeping us all entertained and giving people shout-outs. Lee is on Twitter, www.twitter.com, for those who don't know what Twitter is. Believe me, there are a few. And if you look for DJ Lee Butler, you'll get him. You'll also get the link to his website on there, and you'll also find him on Facebook, DJ Lee Butler. And you'll get all the instructions to follow him in that there. Lee, you've been doing a cracking job at keeping everybody happy in these uncertain times, and we applaud it to you. I'll give some more shout outs to some model railway layouts during the programme, but what we'll do now is we'll get on with the small amount of work that I've been managing to do in March. Just before the COVID-19 outbreak really became bad here in the UK, I was up at our friends in Inverness, and as usual went to visit the sports and model shop in Dingwall. And one of the things they had on sale was this Metcalfe's road surfacing stuff. So, as you'll remember, I didn't do too well at painting my own lines here, so what I've decided to do is see how this stuff would look. Seems to be okay. I haven't cut it terribly well there, but there's ways I could get around it by trying to extend the pavement out a bit, and I'll look at doing that. But it certainly seems to be just there as well. But it seems to be okay. I've had this weighed down for 2 or 3 weeks now with heavy tins of paint, hence the marks that you see on there. But it seems to be a bit rough at points. So there, for instance, don't know what's happened there. So I don't know what you actually think of that. That bit that's there and that bit that's down there haven't been stuck down yet, by the way. And I'm going to have to obviously put new road markings down there eventually and get them properly done. So I'm not sure what you'd all think of what's happened here. It is a bit different, like. But if you think it's okay, well, then that leads me to put down road markings eventually. So we've got here. So some of them will go down. And I've also got this one for a bus stop. There we go. So you've got to see the bus stop one in some yellow lines. I'll need to actually refer to the highway code to just see how you would actually put that down. But that is going to go around that area there, and then I'll probably just put the bus as it was approaching it. And as I say, I'll get all that sorted out eventually as well around there, but that's going to obviously have to wait a few months, as you could well understand. So that's looking quite good, I think, there, but obviously I'd rather have other people tell me. Now there's one more thing that'll be getting put up there. When I was up at in Dingwall, I've got a pack of 4 benches and I've glued this figure to it, and I'll be gluing the bench just behind the War Memorial there, just to try and complete that scene a little bit, and I'll obviously have a go at fixing the NatWest sign on the bank there. That's where I'm up to with this street scene so far, and I also got some people sitting when I was up, as I say, at Dingwall. That's one of them on the bench there. Before we get on to what's been happening down here at the station, a couple of shout outs for layouts, and we'll start off with my friend David Watson with Dean Park Station. And David has actually been running a small competition recently to win some prizes. A Cura Skill have done fantastically well to help him out there. So please check out Dean Park Station, and also Richard Warren at Everard Junction. He's just went in weathered his coaches, a large number of coaches, so just follow him and you'll see what he's been doing. They're both on YouTube, and you'll also find Dean Park Station on Facebook as well. And if you're also fancying looking at another layout, Eden Road TMD is on Twitter and Facebook, so please check them out as well. That's the Cooper Model Railway Show. Now if you have a look down here, you'll see there's another additional vehicle here, and I got this Bedford TK lorry when I was up at Dingwall as well. It's just slightly out of the period the layout's set in 1990, but it will actually do, I think, as a parcels lorry, stopping there to pick up and set down parcels and other stuff. The actual livery itself on the lorry I don't think was used by the mid to late 80s, although I do happen to recall seeing a lorry occasionally parked in Kirkcaldy with faded Rail Express parcels branding, but I suspect it wasn't owned by British Rail by that time. It had been sold on to a private user. The station area has also been given a couple of extra little things as well. We've got another of these benches here, and you could see there's somebody reading a paper that they bought out of W.H. Smith. I've got another information board sign here, and I've got one more that will actually go here. See, I've got a couple of more benches, but I don't know where I'm going to sit those benches yet. And I've got the last of the lamps for platforms 1 and 2 in, so they now need signage to complete that. Also, while I'm down here, I was in touch with my friends in Nottingham at Wrangler Europe. That's where their headquarters are for Europe, in Nottingham. Contour Brands, which own Wrangler, and they've actually told me that I need to change that style lettering because it's not the signature logo that should be up there, but the block lettering Wrangler logo that should be up there. So that will be getting changed at some point in the future. I'll try and get that copy and from internet search engine and downloaded to the laptop, and then we'll get that printed out and we'll have that changed to make sure everything's okay there. And I know it's a bit busy here, but once I've got the road sorted over in the town scene, one of these vans, probably the Royal Mail van, will get moved up onto the town scene. So there's the information board sign there, and as I say, if I just run all the way along, that's the lamp posts there. Area is not complete yet, obviously, because it still needs to get the signs put on the other posts, and then we'll start getting a couple more passengers onto the platform. I've done some changes up here at the retail park area, just so that I can get this thing I bought here at Model Rail Scotland into use. Now, what I've done is, the Comet store used to sit there. I've moved the Comet store over here now, next to the Scotmid supermarket, and I'm still going to try and do something to make a small back of a bus station, or back of a bus garage there. And Alan Miller, editor of Buses magazine, has gave me a couple of suggestions on what to do there for the operator, the main operator that would have been in this area, Kelvin Central Buses. So that's where the Comet store will be. What I think I'll do is, rather than a fence there, it'll be a wall that'll be here, coming along, short wall, and this fence here will then probably go along the top here, but that'll be once I've got this bit done. This building here, I wasn't sure what to do with it at first, but now I've had an idea. Back in the 1980s, there was a small Lanarkshire based or Glasgow based chain of car dealerships called Ian Skelly. They were very famous for Volkswagens. The company no longer exists. It was sold out to somebody else in the mid-90s. Ian Skelly, incidentally, didn't just have branches in West Scotland. They also had motor showrooms in Manchester and Liverpool. The Liverpool one is now actually, ironically enough for this area I'm talking about, is actually part of a retail park, but I'm thinking about making this a branch of, the back of a branch of Ian Skelly. If that isn't possible, another alternative might be that the back of the bus station could be this, and could be sitting here instead. Doing that would mean I would have to actually fix this board here and lift it up a bit, which would then make that look a lot better than what it is. So I've got those two options. It'll either be an Ian Skelly or the back of the bus station. Let me know what you think about that one, because I'm not going to actually go ahead and do it until I get some suggestions from you. When we're actually on about layouts and that, we'll go further forward into the late 1990s. Dudley Central, which is based in the West Midlands, they've recently had a couple of uploads done, and if you're wanting to go back to the Network South East era, there's I think it's called Exeter Lera. It's the scrap line. It is on YouTube. Check that out. That's set in the Network South East era as well. And West Blythe MPD, who've given me some great advice in the past on this layout, go and check them out as well on YouTube, and they're worth a follow too. And while I'm on the topic of motive power depots, we're going to actually go round to the depot, because I've got a couple of things that I bought to show you. Well, I bought a couple of these, and I've put one down. I've got these at Dingwall. I've stuck one right there. That's a propane tanks. And I've put another one up there, but that one isn't stuck down yet. And it was really just to fill that sort of gap in. And we've still got the skips there as well, so It could act as a fuel storage tank for the fueling point here. So that's what I'm thinking. Do I put the other one down here next to it as well? I would then have to build a little border all the way around that. So again, I'm going to throw that one open to you. Do I put that fuel storage, other flammable liquid storage tank down here? Or do I leave it where it is? Again, that's up to yourselves to go and decide on that one. There hasn't been too much more work done at the depot. This ladder unfortunately came off one day, but that'll get glued back on. That's why it's sitting up there now. And I've still got to get the ballasting done in the depot, but that's going to be a wee while before we get anywhere near that. However, it is possible that I could get some other like foliage and that's there put into like say here, where there's a wee bare patch now. No change at this end of the depot, but I have, as I say, got the Clydebridge sign on the signal box, so we now all know what the signal box is called. So that is pretty much it for this month's update, except just to say to you that model railway shows have all been cancelled for the moment as far as I'm aware. It is disappointing because it does mean that the clubs can't showcase their layouts, retailers and small independent retailers in particular can't sell their goods, and also of course venues are not able to get that income. But it is totally necessary in the circumstances what has happened that these have been cancelled. However, with your support and with the determination of the host clubs, we can actually help make next year's shows better than ever. And that might sound a challenge, but it's not an impossible challenge. We can all work together and do just that. We can make the shows next year better than ever. Now, I'll be trying to do some more work on this street scene over the coming weeks. Let me know what you think of this. If you think it's a load of rubbish, I will have to obviously take it all back up again and then give it all a good repaint, sanding it and repaint it before adding in the proper lines. Also, let me know what you think about my suggestion of that either being Ian Skelly or the bus depot. Let me know about that before the April update. And also the tanks as well. If I should have that one there or if I should have them both down there acting as small fuel storage tanks. In these uncertain times, the best advice I can give you is stay safe, stay indoors, keep looking out for everybody else though as well, especially the vulnerable and the elderly. And we shouldn't just be looking out for them in times of crisis, we should be doing it all the time. And also please don't forget to go and check out Lee Butler as well. So thank you very much for watching this month's update. I'll hopefully be back with an update in April. Stay safe and we'll see you soon. Bye bye for now.